Gardeners often overlook one secret that can make or break their harvest. Allelopathy. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. I'm breaking it down for you today. Some plants release natural chemicals that can help or harm nearby plants. So we're going to talk about how to use these plants strategically. Marigolds for nematodes is one example that we're going to break down. How to protect sensitive crops like using spacing, using containers, using mulch. Team replay, I want to hear from you. I love having our conversations after the show. Have you ever planted two crops together and one just didn't grow? Drop your guesses and I'll reveal the sneaky plant culprits. We're going to go over a chart, a list. We have some links in the description. Let me know if you've seen this. Maybe you have a story. If you're here with us live, I see Jay Dixon, Bowtie Life in the Garden, Gandalf, Eddie, Food Forest Permaculture, all here. And I have missed you all. Okay, virtual hugs because it's been a minute. And I'm going to get through the information. And if we have time at the end, we could chit chat a little. So there's chemical allelopathy. Some plants release biochemicals into the soil, the roots, and even the leaves that affect the germination, the growth, or the health of neighboring plants. Hey, Dave Knight. Examples. Okay, this is just a quick example. The black walnut, I think, is a really well-known thing that affects plants. So the juglone is toxic to tomatoes, peppers, potatoes. I have 2 walnut trees, and they're on the edge where there's a cornfield or beans. They do a corn bean rotation. The corn that is on the first 2 rows of the start of the field, where these 2 walnut trees are, produced 0 cobs of corn. There isn't any on the stalk. But then when you watch the row, once it gets so many feet away from where the walnuts drop and roll to, the corn's fine. And I thought that was interesting because I've honestly never noticed that before until this year. We're having this conversation because of you. It was a viewer's suggestion that came up in conversation. So if you have any more ideas or questions, email me at shawneegrows@gmail.com. Link is in, I don't know if it's in the description. I think it's in the About page description, but I'm not sure if it's in the show notes. Hello, G Mama Grows, Heart in the Garden. Good to see you. We're going to get to some people's stories. I see some floating around in the chat here. Physical competitive is another way we can talk about this. So sometimes a plant seems allelopathic when really it's just out competing its neighbors for light, water, or nutrients. Fast growing or tall plants can also shade or crowd out smaller. So if we go through a quick little example before we get to our charts, corn growing near low growing herbs can shade them out, not because of chemicals, but there's that mint, mint or certain grasses can spread very aggressively and dominate space, making other plants fail. I don't think I said sunflowers. Sunflowers have chemicals in the roots and leaves that can stunt beans and corn, which I also thought was shocking because I have used sunflowers to let pole beans vine up them, and I had beans that grew. So I did not experience stunted growth when putting those together. And I don't know what the distance is. Is like, what's the bubble? Can I plant how many feet outside that bubble and we're okay? Have you ever noticed tomatoes struggling near something unexpected, and which plant in your garden seems to dominate everything else? I don't know if I said this one. Positive and negative effects: weed control, inhibition of pests, disease, improved soil nutrition, and microbial interactions. These can be positive things that we can use this plant list for. So before we get into the plant, the type of effect, the plants it affects, and some notes why you would use it or why you wouldn't use it, let's go into the chat and have a conversation with everybody. I haven't done this in so long. Did I miss any more? I don't think so. Banners. Okay, Andrew's Northwest Coins. Welcome to the what? Phone call, mom in hospital. Was it planned? Scheduled hospital? Brookchild 1 is here? Hey. Okay, so I might be oh no, they picked the corn already. I was gonna say I could take a picture of it. Was it just by the tree the corn wasn't growing or just the first couple rows? Both of that is true. So 2 trees, weight or distance pretty good apart. And the walnuts fall and either roll or they get kicked into the cornfield. And so 2 rows in, if I remember right, 2 rows in where we have this block where walnuts fall, the corn looked like crap. Like if it had an ear on it, it wasn't forming, or it had no ear on it. And then if you went deeper in, the corn was fine. If you went further out, the corn was fine. It was just field corn. And it wasn't the organic field. It was the terrible people field. I saw Howie say, good evening, chew your food more to get better nutrition. We should tell Mushroom Mark that. And don't forget, everyone, to catch the super golden beaver moon tonight. Okay, if you have clear skies, that's the word I'm looking for. And we're trying to get the show in at this time because I had time magically appear, and I am up for it. Hey, Kevin. And I had the show kind of prepared. Tomatoes and potatoes must be your story on don't grow them together. Now they're in the same family, so people say if one gets the diseases, it'll spread to the other real fast and then you'll have nothing. I don't know if they stunt growth. Oh, is this Allelopathy? Thank you for helping me pronounce the word. Howie says grape, apple, kiwi, lemons, and sunchokes are on the menu for picking. Wow, that's a lot of picking going on. Fantastic. Oh, Jay says I am concerned that the walnut tree affected that cornfield. And honestly, I don't think I've ever noticed it till now. And so there are plants that you can grow with the black walnut, which I believe is in the show notes here to talk about. And I have a garden right next to it. It's the butterfly. Nope, it's the rain garden, which doesn't have food in it. It has flowers in it, and they all grow fine. Gandalf says, I watched a vid where they said garlic mustard is one of the allelopathic plants. I don't know how to spell the word. Yes. Is it garlic mustard or any mustard? Because I have a plan to plant mustard around all of my squash to deter a pest known as the squash vine borer. Garlic mustard. There are chemicals it releases that can inhibit growth of other native plants and beneficial soil fungi. I wonder if this is the one that's like a perennial in the forest. Let's see here. It looks like a dense mat crawling plant that can make the soil inhospitable for native trees and wildflowers. I don't have a huge list tonight. I'm not even going to get into the trees category deeply because there's a whole, I mean, I feel like you could talk about that for an hour or more. It's a big threat to biodiversity in Northern American woodlands. So I would say, can we eat it? You know, that's helping. Foraging things heavily that can be invasive to other things around it is a good way to use our skills. And I'm looking for any more information that I can quickly pull out. This is the garlic mustard that Gandalf brought up. Let's get into, can we eat it first? I think you can. You guys might already be answering this, but I'm on a different. Okay, yes, you can eat garlic mustard. It's nutritious, but use precautions. Young leaves are best for fresh eating like salads or pestos, while older plants and roots are edible when cooked thoroughly because they do contain all of that cyanide compound going on, which other stuff has that. So dangerous, invasive, edible is like one line here. So let's pull up some pictures. Does anybody have garlic mustard growing wild in their area? So here's the, oh geez, that's a terrible. I'm trying to get it blown up, but that one was a terrible picture. Let's try this one. No. If I go like this. Oh, that's a little better. Share this tab instead. That's the leaf. Going through the chat. Let's see here. Seeing if I missed any more stories. Oh, here's a corn story. So there's the plant. I'll come back to that. G Mama says, I had issues with my corn being stunted from the sunflowers this season. Oh, and what kind of corn? Was it dent corn, sweet corn, or popcorn? I would love to know. Like, is it all corn family, right? That are affected by the sunflowers? And I've been really loosey-goosey with where I put sunflowers and didn't know until recently they could be affecting other plants in a negative way. I love using them as borders and in patches, and you know how they volunteer. And there was a gardener in Minnesota, the Homesteading RD, that had something happen, and I forgot to look it up before the show. She had sunflowers somewhere in this row of crops. I just don't remember which one. And as you got closer to the sunflowers, the crop was failing. It was doing terrible. So I'm going to have to go back. I don't know if I can find it. Like, was it in a garden tour? Did she make a video specifically about it? She does a lot of shorts. It's a total thing, right? Jay says sunflower stunting plants maintain a distance of 2 to 3 feet for the giant varieties, or 24 inches for medium and branching types. The dwarf varieties are around 6 to 12 inches apart. So there is like this bubble that you could plant outside of when you're working on them. Yeah, that was a professional diagnosis. Yes. Brook Trout one says, we dug up a raised bed of sweet potatoes, hardly any, switching to mostly strawberries, lettuce, and some herbs. We watched a video. She said, don't plant strawberries with potatoes, so we'll see. Well, because the potatoes were already there, and you're doing like a crop rotation, it's not like they're in the bed at the same time. Because you said switching. And I love that you're like, well, we're just going to see. Because just because we read it on the internet doesn't mean it's actually going to happen in our gardens, right? And Eddie, there was a video I didn't get to watch. Maybe it wasn't about a meteor shower, though. Maybe it was about a comet and aliens. But good to know. I don't know where the world is going to see the meteor shower and what time. Brook Trout 1 might already be gone fishing. That is great. I think there's something there. Is there something with, if you're still here or if Howie knows, where it's good fishing to go on a full moon or a super moon? Is that a thing? Howie says the secret fairy garden was bulldozed today. Oh, what happened? All week I have been moving trees and picking the lemons, grapes, apples, kiwi, and sunchokes. You're doing great work, Howie, trying to get as much out of there, because I know you've been talking about that getting bulldozed. Oh my goodness. Jay says garlic mustard is an allelopathic invasive plant, meaning it releases the chemicals that prevent other plants from growing. These root exudates alter soil chemistry, inhibit native plants, and interfere. Kevin said, I had bacterial leaf spot on all my peppers, being it's a nightshade. Should I keep tomatoes away from that area next year? Yeah. Bacterial leaf spot. Anybody? Does it stay in the soil? I believe it does. And then what's your remedy? How do you want to fix your soil for next year? And what would be a good crop rotation for Kevin? Bacterial leaf spot. I have a book about stuff. It's over there. You can always email me too. So this bacterial leaf spot is now in your soil. And so those peppers, the debris the leaves, the stems. I hope you removed them, like bagged them up and got rid of them, not chop and drop, not compost them, because that will help get it out. Now, there is a process of breaking things down, hot composting, and it kills things, right? Some people aren't into that. Reading. So what would be a good, solarization. When you tarp an area in a hot summer, it will possibly kill all of the bacteria that was left behind, this leaf spot. And I would definitely, you're on the right track. What do we plant next? So a bean, a cabbage, definitely no tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, possibly for 2 to 4 years. So beans, peas, cabbage. You could do cucumbers or squash. Is any of that going to work for you? And then I would feed your soil drench it, right? Get some good microorganisms in there, Kevin. Radio Jonesy, you made it. I didn't email you because I didn't want to bother you. Howie says, yeah, 8,000 types of trees are native to Canada. So for us to go through the list of who's allergic to who would take forever. Use your own research time, right? We love homework. Robin Gardens, hello from Chicagoland. Sorry, I did not know you were live. I did email you. Just to say, hey, I'm going live. We're just going to try and get through this conversation because I had some time to see everybody. Jay is putting out more information about the garlic mustard that we were speaking about earlier. Garlic mustard is edible and can be used in many dishes. Foragers can use the young leaf stems, roots, and flowers. It made me think of Robin. He is doing forage only for 1 year, and he was on like day 17. It just started, and he's in Wisconsin. And I don't have the channel name off the top of my head right now, but I love watching what he's foraging for right now. Like he just was picking parsnips. There was another one. I can't remember the other one. It was a leafy green. It has a garlicky, mustardy, and slight pepperly flavor. So I wonder if it's spicy. Vitamins A and C. It's in Canada. Okay. I will have to look. I'm not sure. Gandalf says I pull up garlic mustard when I find it in the woods until it seeds. Then I try to find a way to burn it, or I put it in a field that I know will be herbicide because it grows everywhere in Ohio. Dave says fragmentize is a problem at out competing the native plants. That's terrible when something has that much power, right? Thank you, Jay, for mentioning it in the garden party that I was actually going to have a show tonight. Botai says, yeah, I've never had problems with sunflowers stunting anything, but I've always heard they cause problems. And I also want to know if it comes down to what type of sunflower you're planting, right? Because there's a lot of types. And I can't remember which one she had, what sunflower homesteading RD had, and what crop was getting affected by it. I don't remember. G Mama says it was baby corn. Oh, baby corn. I grow it every season. Sina Sunflower thought it was cute, but my corn suffered tremendously. Those are the things we learn as we grow. Wow. Okay, Robin says, don't know if you've mentioned this. Well, we haven't got very far. We've been just sharing stories. But when I did grow eggplant, I had to do it in a pot. Oh, it didn't play nice with other plants. An eggplant? Okay, so I put an eggplant in the ground and it didn't produce an eggplant. It was in the West Food Forest where it was hot and sunny and dry and didn't get watered. So I will not repeat that because I kind of wanted to try an eggplant. G Mama says I grow in containers, by the way, so a majority of my plants are intercropped. Did we cover rosemary? I haven't even gotten to the list. I'll get to the list. I promise everybody. 20 minutes in, it's, we just have so much to talk about. I have cereal rye in right now. Okay. Corn, wheat, Rye's got to work, right? Is that in the grass family to go in? And then I wonder if you are supposed to chop and remove it, or I mean, you could solarize it. I don't know, but you're on the right track, Kevin. Eddie said worldwide and better after midnight for the meteor shower. Oh, okay, there's not going to be a lot, but it should be really bright. Brooke says, I love fishing. The full moon, I might go later. Botai says, the sun can sterilize bacterial leaf spot, I believe. Great, because we did talk about it. You did remove everything. Excellent protocol. Howie says, collecting the leaves at first light for the food forest floor. Yes, we did some leaf collecting in a live stream, and my child was yelling at me in the live because I was live from my phone testing to see if I could even do that. And it was at the rental property, not at the garden. I doubt I have um, enough service juices to go live at the garden, to be honest. So, I am not allowed to have any more leaves at this time per child. Robin says copper fungicide is a treatment for the bacterial leaf spot. Um, Yeah, I would definitely Bowtie has a point here. That seems like a very long time, 2 to 4 years before having that crop back in that spot for the rotation. A single year of solar exposure does a whole lot of good. Yeah, I would say 4 weeks, of solar exposure. Plant a different crop family, and then the next year you could plant nightshades back there and see what happens. And then just choose varieties that are less prone for bacterial leaf spot to try that. Right? Howie says, I go fishing when the fish are biting as the ocean is tide sensitive. Slack tide is best. Fishing the lake when the water is warm at 1 o'clock is best. Jay says, name all the trees in Canada. Species not. Person name. Demanding voice. Howie says, I believe humans are invasive and soon perhaps aliens will be here soon. Hey. Robin says there was a whole section on getting rid of garlic mustard. Ooh, in the master class, very problematic, invasive, not native. Okay, so do you want to list the top 5? Fill up a chat box with how to get rid of it, Robin, just for fun. Because you're in the Master Garden program. Okay, Jay says eggplant has allelopathic properties, meaning it releases the biochemicals through its roots and can affect other organisms. Its root exudates contain compounds like cinnamic acid and vanillin. Wow, it sounds like cinnamon and vanilla. Are you kidding me? Um, Maybe I need to grow eggplant in a container then. Brooke says, we had a few different varieties of sunflowers in different gardens, and I'll have to look to see what it affects. I know the Everglade tomatoes did great, but they always do. I think I can get to the list here soon. Bowtie says to remove bacterial leaf spot from soil using solarization, you prepare the soil, irrigate it deeply, cover it with your plastic. I did a video on solarization. Check it out. 4 to 6 weeks during hot. Yeah, it has to be hot out, like summer hot. Hey, that's the live I did. Thank you, Jay. There wasn't a lot of educational speaking in it. So I apologize if that's what you're expecting. Bury the edges to seal in moisture and heat. Yeah, weigh down the plastic so it doesn't blow away. This process traps solar energy to heat the soil, killing many soil-borne pathogens, including bacteria. Yeah, I use DeWitt Sunbelt woven ground cover. Brooke Trout says, what about copper wire? To do what? Brooke Trout, because I feel like you're going somewhere with that, but I don't want to assume. Bowtie goes, yeah, that sounds exactly like what you did. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the chat. Good night, Howie. Remember to chew all the food 25 to 50 times so you absorb the nutrients better. You won't feel hungry as much. Night, Shawnee. Thank you, Howie. Okay, the things we should be talking about now. So we're going to go over the black walnut. The type of effect is chemical. What are the plants it affects? Tomatoes, peppers, potatoes. See a theme there? Apple, birch, because it produces juglone. So the notes are avoid planting sensitive crops nearby. What you can plant by it is shade-tolerant ornamentals, squash, melons, and root crops like carrots, beets, parsnips, lima, and snap beans, onions, garlic, leeks, parsnips, carrots, cauliflower, soybeans, parsley, and Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes should grow fine near a black walnut. Now, I'm not saying purposely plant your garden under a black walnut tree because it gets to be messy, But just know it doesn't mean it's completely off limits. We can still use that space in a way. Also, the sunflower we're talking about, the effect is chemical and physical. So apparently the plants it affects is beans, corns, potatoes. There's chemicals in the roots and leaves, and the tall growth can shade shorter plants. Avoid dense planting near crops that you want to thrive. So kind of put it in its own section. Sunflowers are one of the survival crops, if you ask me. They enhance beauty, they attract pollinators, they improve soil health. We talked about how to remedy contaminated soil. Sunflowers are your friend, right? Their seeds are nutritious, okay? So the point of this conversation is not to be like, these plants are bad. No, we just need to use them in a matter that helps us. So I don't have the rest of the list in the banners. I'm gonna read them, and I have a little graph I'm gonna pull up. So we know about our garlic, onion, and leeks. There is a chemical effect for these, and affected plants are the beans and peas. We should try to avoid having the garlic, onion, and leek by the beans and peas, but they are so good near carrots and tomatoes. They deter pests. What is that fly? There's a fly that affects carrots. If you have some garlic and onion around them, you're okay. We're getting into the companion planting conversation of polyculture and having things mixed together. Now, bow tie, listen up. Your mint is your thing. Mint is physical of affecting. Most small or slow growing crops it affects, like it chokes them out, right? So it spreads aggressively via roots and runners. It's great for containers or borders. Otherwise, it can take over. Now, it's great to take the leaves, not the stem, and just sprinkle it around your garden to help confuse pests. It's great to make food and teas with and medicine. It's something you should be growing, but just understand what that plant is going to do, right? Sage, rosemary, thyme has a chemical effect. So it's going to affect beans and cucumbers. It has strong aromatic oils that can slow growth of some plants, but they are on the good for pest deterrents near the rest of the crops not the beans and cucumbers. They're fantastic. Rosemary was another one of the plants that were listed to plant around the base of squash to deter the squash vine borer. I don't have the comments open. Let me. Are you guys saying things? Thank you for the link to the solarization method, Jay, that we did. Oh, Robin says in her masterclass it was the big stuff to get rid of the garlic mustard, unfortunately. Brook Trout 1. I watched you rake leaves. I didn't have to. I should have got the tarp out. Which now that I say that, if I show the kids to load the tarp with leaves, you know what they're going to do with that. And maybe I want that to happen for funsies. I'll have to think about it. Here, Howie says that you can plant black cap raspberries under a black walnut. Well, how am I going to get to the walnuts to harvest them if there's a bunch of thorny raspberries everywhere? Okay, Robin says brook trout 1, copper wire has been used as barrier for slugs around plant bases. Yeah, like a copper pad, right? And then there's mixed results on effectiveness. And the whole conversation on deterring slugs, it's layers of stuff. It's not just do one thing. It's like its own conversation. Bowtie says, just be aware of plants' properties. Not bad. Pretty much everything can be harnessed for one reason or another. The carrot root fly, that was the one I was thinking of. Brook Trout says, okra and onion seem to do well together. Fantastic. I love when we find companions that excel, and then we just repeat that process. Bowtie says, rosemary can be used to prevent wildfire spread. Is it cineal? Pinene and camphor suppresses germination. It also deters rats. Oh, what? It's pet and child friendly. It dies here. because it gets too cold. And rosemary is memory linked. So people should touch and smell the oils of rosemary every day to help with things like dementia. Rosemary can be used to prevent is this a different? It's in there twice, but maybe that's because there was a spelling error or something. Okay. Marigolds. Where's gear grinding? Okay. Marigolds have a chemical effect. So they are on the list. Robin knows for the nematode situation. If you want to speak about that, Robin. And sometimes it can affect beans or brassicas. So marigolds are great for soil pest suppression. They sometimes affect plants, but they are what I planted around my entire new warm annual crop garden. The entire border was, is it 3 or 4 different types of marigolds? Now, fennel, I don't have experience with, but this is saying fennel is chemical and affects almost all crops. Its very strong allelopathic effect is best grown alone, far from other plants. Okay, so fellow fennel growers, speak up. Bowtie says, yeah, Minnesota doesn't appreciate rosemary and the whole state just kills it. Bad Minnesota, bad. SWAT with rolled newspaper, bad state. I want to hear your fennel stories. I think Robin grows fennel. Do you know anything about that? Jay is putting out the link for marigolds for nematode management. Now, there was a certain type Robin grew for nematodes. I don't remember the name. They do not keep rabbits out of the garden, brook trout. I have a rabbit again. He was eating my hazelnut tree, which I forgot. I didn't even realize I didn't have the protector cone on it, so I got that on there. Another plant on the list is called knotweed/horseradish, physical and chemical, many crops. So it's aggressive spread, inhibitory chemicals, useful as a barrier plant, but avoid near any vegetables. I am not growing horseradish. It's also one of those things I've been told will be there forever. And it's something that grows really well here in the North Pole, as Bowtie would say. Jay says fennel is allelopathic, can inhibit the growth of nearby plants. Those chemicals, often from the roots and seeds, can negatively affect sensitive plants, particularly those in the nightshade family. Yeah, I'm not a fennel grower. Does everyone grow their fennel by itself? Now, this next one surprised me. It's clover, white or red. And I thought, clover, it's my friend, right? And they go, well, it's physical. It can compete lightly. It does fix nitrogen and improve soil, but it can outcompete small seedlings if the clover is shading them out, which makes sense. I agree. It can do that, right? Brook Trout 1 says, I've only grown fennel once in Wisconsin by the house in a flower bed. Oh, that was a good spot then. A flower bed. Beautiful plant. I know. I said it, Bowtie. I think we're going to get snow on Friday, and I'll video it for you. Eucalyptus has a chemical to it that affects many crops. Leaves release the oils, and so you should avoid planting it near, get this, it says vegetables and ornamentals. So a eucalyptus needs to be by itself, which is hard to grow. Bamboo. Now, there's different types of bamboo. Okay, you need the one that doesn't, what's the word? Run? Is that the word? It's physical, so most crops. It spreads via rhizomes, dominates space, great for screens or containment areas. There's a type of bamboo that like stays where you put it. And then there's one that it's like, here's one. Here's one. It does that thing. I don't remember the words for it. Oh, Jay says horseradish sauce. I'm trying to see where my other picture is for my next presentation. Here we go. Produces a compound that can reduce seed germination, inhibit root growth, and affect cell division in other plants such as lettuce and onion. Yeah, I don't need it in my life at all. Robin Garden says, I suffered root knot nematodes on my carrot crop. Oh, not the carrots. In my car bed. I grew caliente mustard and dug it in. The naughty Marietta and the red metamorph marigolds. Yeah, which I've never had those. We dug the leaves in this week. Okay. Yeah, because it's supposed to get rid of those nematodes. Bowtie, yeah, there's a cold blast. Everyone is getting cold in the States this weekend. There may be frost 20 to 40 miles to the north of him, but not where he's at because of the 70-degree seawater. Yeah, there's places that shouldn't be getting this cold that are going to get it. And so, you gardeners, I am thinking about you, and I really hope that you're ready, right? The clumping bamboo is the good one, not the running one, right? Dusty Flat says, hey, by accident, I planted carrots, oversowed parsley, and the carrots had no carrot fly damage. Also, late butterfly caterpillars were in the parsley. Oh, that would be confusing to my brain to have carrots and parsley together. Oh. Okay, but it worked. Had no carrot fly damage. Robin Garden says, I also used seafood shell fertilizer in that bed. It has the Chilton. That also helps. So basically, I've done 3-prong approach. We'll see what happens when I try to grow carrots again there in 2026. So is there a rule, Robin, where you can't plant that carrot in that soon? Like, are you cleared in your research to put carrots in already, or do you have to plant a different crop? So if they are in there, they don't have a host plant? Jay is going to have a hard frost this weekend. We've had a couple hard frosts now. So, okay, Jay, a hard frost is anything under 27 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. Oh, see, Robin has grown fennel every year. And what did you grow it with? What was in the space of it, Robin? Because I don't remember in your garden tours what was next to the fennel. Brook Chart 1 says, I just checked the weather. Next Tuesday, the low is going to be 39. Dang. Yeah, now that I said it out loud, Robin, are you going to rethink where you put your fennel? I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, just because it says it on the internet doesn't mean you're going to see it happen in your garden. So here's a fun little chart, if you like those things, that explains how this can happen. We can have the donor plant, and we can have rain, dew, or fog fall on the leaves, and it leaches into the soil, and there's root exudation and decomposition. If there's something, there's a dead root and rhizome, and we have rain running into that, and it's leaching either in the soil, it can absorb into somebody nearby, or it does volatilization into the air and then gets dropped and absorbed in the plant. So those are ways that this contamination can happen if we're talking about it in the bad sense. Now, we've shared so many success stories on this is our friend. This is a tool, right? Like, this is a thing to use to our advantage, right? Looking over my information. Is there any more information? Not on that one. Okay, going back to the... If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the button. And if you already are, thank you. One of the best ways you can support is by sharing the channel with a friend, a neighbor, or another gardener. I have been sharing video conversations. If you haven't seen them, check them out, because I haven't been able to go live due to life and time. And it's like, do I want to eat something, put my feet up, or do a live stream? You know, I'm trying to have things set up and prepared, so when I find the time, it's like we have 15 minutes, boom, 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 go. So I have like banners built, the homework in the description box, those links to things. So what do I have in there right now? We have 13 perennials you should never plant next to each other, allelopathy in the home garden. Can I control lawn weeds without herbicides? This would be good conversation for that. And a video that says you should never grow these plants in your garden, which is from the Culinary Garden. Those are just a few resources that I put. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to my amazing Shawnee Grows members. You all make such a difference in keeping this community thriving. Thank you, okay, for your support, your encouragement, and for growing alongside me every step of the way. You're the roots that keep this garden strong. I have like 10 gardening books that I would love to buy, to read, to have conversations with you all about. So those memberships help pay for future books that we're going to have tools to have these conversations, right? So if you'd like to become a member too, check out the join button below. Maybe it says subscribe plus, you'll get special perks. Sometimes you'll see the videos before other people, depending on what level membership you have. It does start at $1. There's behind the scenes content. And of course, when we get members, we get a story time. So let me see. We've got a merch store, which is another way to help support the channel, buy more books, okay? So here's an example, Grow Every Day in Every Way. There are little pieces of the garden in stock now. We do have our fall or autumn garden flag, patches that are embroidered for your garden hats or bags, stickers and magnets to help decorate your watering cans or fridges, garden-themed puzzles for cozy evenings in, and of course, the t-shirts, the sweatshirts, the hoodies, right? Each design celebrates the heart of the channel, growing every day in every way. You can find everything linked in the description. Where did I leave off? Okay, you guys have been saying things. Okay, there's that one. A hard frost, also referred to as a hard freeze or a killing freeze, occurs when the air temperature drops below 28 Fahrenheit, -2 Celsius, or lower for a period of at least 4 hours, which I think is good to know. Botai says, okay, I have a story. I put our Christmas poinsettia in the garden after Christmas. Uh-oh. In the spring, they have been covered with whitefly and no whitefly anywhere else in the garden. Oh, it's a trap crop? I think poinsettia may be a trap plant for the whitefly, but I have not found any research proof of it. So I talked about poinsettias in our holiday garden conversation last year, and I can't remember if I spoke about that. I'd have to go back and watch it. And then I could look up information to see if I can find it. But what a wonderful discovery, because then what do? Do you just bag it and get it out of there to get all the white flies out, right? Jay says, get your crayons out, kiddies. We're doing garden drawings. The fennel was next to the peppers. Okay. And your Anaheims did great, right? Yeah, those were, it's like a tree. Dusty Flat says the cold will dive down the Midwest to the East Coast this weekend. Small chance of snow early Sunday morning. We need precipitation big time in Wisconsin. Did I tell you I planted the garlic today? I did. I planted 62 cloves, which I should be planting 500, but I had 62, okay? And I put them in the East Island because that was where they did the best. And I put some bulb tone and some sulfur down, put the clove in, topped it with compost, poured fermented plant juice made from comfrey on it, and then put leaves on that. So I'd be okay with having some snow blanketed in. What is it? Tennessee, Ohio, Kentucky possibly are going to have severe weather. If I remember right. Friday maybe. Bowtie says, I think I just might finally subscribe to Bowtie. Our oven says fennel continued, so nightshades, Anaheim peppers, onions, and radishes were also next to them. And she's saying nothing happened. Everything was cohesive together with the fennel. No, bow ties, like, all the time to live stream talk means Mark took the kids out tonight or everyone got in trouble and they're sent to bed early. Nope. It just gets dark at 5 o'clock. And so Mark wants to go to bed at 7, and the kids had done everything they could possibly do and ran out of things to do, you know. And I had been setting the show up and I had been working because I have a job that I do before I do anything for YouTube. Like there's an order of operations here. And so everyone's here and nobody's in trouble. Carol from South Florida Sunshine Tropicals. Hey there, I got my bath, so I'm rewarding myself and stopping by. Have to catch the replay for what I missed. Yes, and I will see you in the comment section to tell me if you've seen any plants affecting other plants, good or bad. Now, we did have memberships, so I want to try and get to who got them? Wade Rue, Big Will Dog 82, Serena, GT, Junior, Grows at Alaska, and Gear Grindin 19. So we have to say things and stuff. Oh, I don't even have the story open. What is happening? New members, look at that. New members are sprouting up. You've officially planted your roots with us. Get ready for behind the scenes content, extra garden tips, bonus items, printables. Now, where's my story time? Let's get it going. This one might be spooky. The greenhouse that grew itself. Let me go back to comments here. Oh, but not too far. Where did I leave off? I don't want to. There it is. Okay. At the edge of the marshlands, where the fog never lifted and frogs croaked like broken clocks, there was a greenhouse that no one remembered building. Now let me know if I've already read this one, okay? Because I don't remember. It had appeared one morning after a heavy rain, glass panes slick with dew, framed by ivy that shouldn't have grown so thick overnight. Some said it rose from the earth itself, grown from the roots below. Inside, the air was warm and sweet, thick with the scent of jasmine and decay. The plants inside pulsed softly, their leaves twitching when you whispered, as though they listened. One villager claimed he saw them rearrange overnight, vines coiling into shapes of faces, petals curling open like mouths mid-scream. People began to disappear near the marsh. First the stray animals, then the botanist who tried to map the species within. Weeks later, his journal washed up on the riverbank, its pages stained green and damp. The last entry read, "It breathes when the moon rises. The glass is not glass at all, it's skin." Now, when the fog thickens and the moonlight bends just right, travelers claim to see the faint reflection of their own faces in the greenhouse walls, smiling back, even when they aren't. So I don't think I read that one. And we have more happening things going on in the chat, so let's get to that. Yes, bow tie. I watched the video premiere. It was great for information, and I have ordered an EKG machine, thanks to you. And I also looked at the gut drink from Dr. something something. So I don't think I made a comment because I couldn't come up with one, I guess. Sorry. Serena, you're welcome. Here we go. Let's see. Jay says a poinsettia trap crop is a strategy using a preferred host plant, most commonly eggplant, to attract pests like whiteflies away from the main poinsettia crop. Oh, so whitefly likes eggplant? I don't even know if I have whitefly here. Dusty Flats. Low tunnel brassicas are still going, but I don't think I'll be putting out the quilts. Harvested and processed a good share. Beautiful cauliflower. Happy dance. Yeah, because the cold coming. Just get it out of there. Mad Farm. Caribbean Exotics. Is that how you say that? Hey. Bowtie goes, yeah, trap plant. I just left the poinsettia and the whitefly. It just seemed to stay there and eventually disappeared, hoping it was due to a predator. Well, what if they just made babies everywhere and you just created... Oh, okay, Mad Farm. So I went through all of my lists that I had, like, for chemical or physical right? And stories of who's seen this happen in their garden, how to use it for good or bad. So it could have been, you'll have to catch the replay, and then I want to hear from you. I'm sure you probably have a story, right? It can be positive or negative. So these can be used for weed control, inhibition of pests, diseases, improve soil nutrition, and microbial interactions. Just because it's having a chemical or physical allelopathy reaction doesn't mean it's like, oh, don't grow it. We're going to use it as a tool. So we've already talked about all that. But if you have stuff to say, I want to hear it. And I have to get back into where I was at. Carol says, I've been washing my plants because of the whitefly, but spoke to another Florida nursery owner, and it's the season when they're active. Like, they'll go away at some point. We have a super chat, I think it's called, Robin Gardens. Thank you for $20. Go buy one of the books you want, Butterfly. And so we must say, super chat, you just added some extra sunshine to today's garden. Thank you for the support and good vibes. I will go into my cart and pick out which book I want. Now, I do have a book that I ordered for pre-order because she isn't releasing it till January. So subscribe to see our January conversation of which book I pre-ordered. But yes, thanks to Robin and our new members, I will be able to afford more books. Because there's, like literally 10 that I would like to buy and have in our tools, right? Dusty Flats got the garlic in last Tuesday, trying to get vehicles detailed and everything that can't be done in the snow. Ain't that the truth? Okay, I had to drive down a gravel road to get my tires put on. I got new tires on Saturday. So now that's toasted with gravel dust, the van, which it's a rusty van, so who cares? But, I only missed the last bird perch guess on hundreds of hummingbirds by 9 seconds. You were the closest guess. Excuse me. Bowtie is going to let Will know that he got a gifted membership. He'll get an email. Maybe he doesn't check his email. Okay, let's see. Yes, new members look for access to special videos on the channel. Was there a thing happening? Mad Farm says we're having an open house this weekend at my nursery location. What? That sounds fantastic. Jay usually shares really great channels, so feel free to peruse links and look around. Okay. Carol says Carrie is Caribbean was closing. So I grabbed a pineapple and some mullein and had to get. They kept it open late, and I was so happy. Plants? Is that what we're talking about? Oh no, Bowtie. No. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. Shoot. I used your link to figure out the name of it, and then I copy and pasted it to my app. Because when I click on your link, it doesn't take me to how I'm logged in, and I don't know how to log in, off the top of my head with the usernames and the passwords and such. Sorry. Super Beaver Moon tonight. Yes. What is a listening party? You went out? Did you leave the house, Carol? You did go. It says woohoo, made it out. What? Oh no, 2 double negatives, Bowtie. I'm so sorry. So what happened was I saw you showing us how to use it. I looked it up and I was like, I can afford that. And then I was in the parking lot dropping off a child for a homeschool thing, and I was telling this mom, she also likes holistic healthcare, and we were talking about sinus stuff and herbs, and I was talking about things that have came across my life in the last 24 hours on what I want to research and look into, because there was more than just that. And she goes, yeah, we have one of those for my daughter. And I'm like, no way. And then somebody in my family at lunchtime goes, yeah, my heart, blah, 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 last night. And I was like, no way. So I totally ordered it. I think it's a great tool. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but I really think individuals need to know how to do basic vitals and use tools to get kind of an answer to what needs to be done next. And that goes for both modern tools and herbalism tools. That's all I'm going to say. Because, that's getting off topic, I feel like. Oh, Mad Farm says it's the worst season we've had for whitefly in a few years. Is that because there hasn't been any rain? I bet. Serena, I bought 1 pound of mustard to plant with my squash next year. Dusty Flat says horticultural oil will knock out whitefly. Carol is talking to Mad Farm about some sugar apple. Oh, the whitefly again, I bet. Bowtie says that the tool that I totally ordered is super cool. Yeah, my friend was saying there's like a one that does less things. I'm like, no, I want all the things. I want the big fancy one. Dusty Flat says, I'm so happy my husband remembered to bring in multi-valve spigot. It seems we always freeze something connected to hoses. Oh, I have hoses on the deck. Oh, that I need to drag into the basement. Mad Farms, Shawnee, sorry I missed it. I haven't had much issues with allelopathy with annuals ever. Perhaps invasive dominating roots, yes. In close proximity, yes. But I've had noticeable growth issues with certain herbaceous stuff after using stuff like Closia leaves in mulch mixes. Whoa, great observation. Having certain plant leaves in a mulch mix affecting where you applied it to certain plant families. And now I said earlier, we're not even going to get into all the trees, because there's all kinds of tree stuff. Now we talked about black walnut because that's something that everybody can kind of grasp usually. Dusty Flat said, had whitefly once in spring on petunias and one spritz with horticultural oil. Fix the problem. Okay. Bochay goes, okay, well, I guess I have to be mad at you for at least 12.75 seconds. Radio Jonesy is celebrating his membership. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a thing you can do if you're a member. You can get one of these and type stuff in. You are still out at the doctor's, but everything is good. Thank you for the update. It is good to know that it's going on the up and up and no more flags are happening. I don't know if you're listening. You might have earbuds in. Going to the chat. Yes, Carol, yes, Hannah RSVP'd for a listening party and I drove her and went inside and had to hold my coughing and stuff. And now I don't want to go anywhere for a bit at all. So tired. Yeah, I'm shocked that you did that. Big Will Dog, you are very welcome for the gifted membership. Use it before you lose it. Thank you, Bowtie, for agreeing on just let's all individually take some ownership on learning how to do some basic things in our household. And my family chose to get really serious about that during a certain life-changing time period in history. So, adventures with me and T. Hey, y'all, I made it to a live. Yay, I'm live. I know, I haven't been here in forever. Now, we do have future shows coming up, like the big talk, where we're going to reflect on what happened in 2025. And I'm going to have some show and tell, and I'm going to invite people on the panel to talk about their 2025. And it's going to be a big party, hopefully. And I don't know when it's happening because is there no mail coming up on a certain holiday soon besides Thanksgiving? Because then I can go live, but I can't go live on Thanksgiving. We're going to figure it out. I might be able to fill a time slot somewhere. I won't say where, though. I'll try to let everybody know. If you want to be notified 5 to a day's worth of time ahead of when I'm going to go live, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it just depends. You can send me an email, shawneegrows@gmail.com, and say that you want to sign up to be notified, and make sure you include the email that you want me to send it to, and I'll say, "Hey, we're going to go live." If you want to get another notification outside of whatever YouTube does. Dusty also is reminding people to don't forget to empty sprayers and bring in any liquids for gardening, including fish emulsion. You're supposed to even bring in your granular. Your granular fertilizer isn't supposed to be stored where it's going to get to freezing. Oh, that's right. Adventures with Me and T is doing the watch hour thing. To get to, is it 4,000 you're trying to get to, or are you still trying to get to 3? I don't remember the total. Jonesy has had small wallaby problems with his gardening journey over at Outback Tasmania. Yes. Now that would be where we're going to plant something to deter a pest, right? Like your daisy situation, the specific type of daisy. Jay, not if you're listening to Radio Jonesy. Carol, I mean, yes, but still, your health, okay? You know, we can't take it back and go back and not go. Um, I'm not ragging on you, but you got to be getting better, you know? Yes, 2025, What Happened is going to be a lovely special here on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed at a future date. Okay, Big Will Dog 82 in the Soil has a question. To whom shall I say thanks to for the membership? So I have a button where I can gift up to 10 memberships in a month thanks to YouTube, and I don't pay for it. So it's YouTube that paid for it, I guess. It's just this feature that we have. I can do 5 at a time, so I could do it one more time within a month. Okay, is it 3,600? Okay, so you're going for the 4. Yeah. Was there a goal date? Anybody? Bow tie or adventures with me and T? Like, get it by this date? Yeah, there's shawneegrows@gmail.com. Mad Farm says, Shawnee, it seems a lot of tree foliage used for chop and drop in a food forest setting can have adverse effects on growth of different species as they break down. Like oak, I think, is one of them. Anybody? Carol says, so glad I get to skip winterizing, but summer's going to keep getting more brutal, it seems like. Yeah, it's like, bring all of the perennials inside the air conditioning for the summer and put the garden out in the winter, It's just different. It's so different. And it is the 4K. It's the African daisy. There you go. We had the scientific Latin-y name the other night when we were reading about it. So make sure you are subscribed to Outback Tasmania to see his garden journey, because he's in springtime, so it's go time. Mad Farm says, yeah, not just the compounds or chemicals, but the tannins, acids, and fungal promotion that happen with certain drop of leaves near other plants. Now, when we're talking about planning our food forest, I haven't taken any classes or read the big fancy books, but I feel like that's not talked about when planning your vertical, like, tree layer and your shrub layer. You're welcome. Yes, yes. Thank you. The walnut leaves would be bad. Yeah. I think oak are another one. 5 to 8 weeks. Well, that's a really manageable, realistic time period. Because, like when I was pushing hard, my goal was 100 hours a week, you know. Oh, Carol, there's an oak forest at my friend's, and she found out herself and one of her kids are totally allergic. So it's like, be on a medication or move. The only thing I remember from oak is there's too much. They just suffocate everything. Dusty says, I haven't noticed any adverse effects from oak leaves. They just are messy trees. They produce a lot. Adventures with Me and T, our goal was by the end of the year. Oh, great. Everyone's incredibly helpful and kind, so encouraging. It'll be a little New Year's gift, right? You're going to get there. Destiny, which fennel is the edible cookable one? And what the heck is the other fennel even grown for? Or have I seriously misunderstood the fennel issue? Okay, fennel growers, is there a Latin name that we could throw out? Uh, hmm. Okay, which fennel is the one that you can eat and cook with? So, edible vegetable fennel, Florence fennel is grown for the bulb, and herb fennel, like wild or sweet fennel, is grown for the leaves and seeds. And the non-edible giant fennel is Ferula communis, which, what is its point? I don't know. I guess there are different types, Destiny. Hi, by the way. Florence fennel, finocchio are the eating vegetable ones. Wild or sweet fennel is an herb fennel because it doesn't have a bulb. You use like the ferny fronds and stuff or the seeds. And then the giant fennel is the Ferula communis, is some kind of plant that has aroma, but we don't eat it, and it's ornamental. There is no like, hey, can I just have a picture of all three together to know what we're talking about? Nope. Maybe. What? This is a Wisconsin horticulture. I don't see. That was a great question. We were talking about fennel earlier, Destiny, because apparently it affects all the things, but people have grown it just fine next to stuff. I hope I helped you with that. I'm gonna go to the next one. Carol says it's a bit depends on who you're learning from. David the Good does let folks know which ones might adversely affect growth. We were talking about bamboo earlier, Carol. How there's like clumping bamboo and the ones that like spread and travel. The whole acreage is oaks, says Dusty. That's a lot of oak leaves. Jay says, well, that ruins my plan to give you a soothing massage with oak leaves. Mad Farm says, yep, oak due to the tannins and the pH decreasing. Okay, Bowtie's just talking to Shawnee here. Londa doesn't know yet, so don't tell her, but I'm planning a new story series for the next several days to help promote Adventures with Me and T Quest monetization. Okay, great. Oak is why Carol will not live in a certain, is it latitude? Longitude? Up? Yeah, you have to constantly chop them up. The leaves just are going to fall from now until spring. That's a whole maintenance situation. Jay says all parts of the common fennel plant, there's the Latin name, are the edible ones. They make a bulb, there is a stalk, there's the fronds, and then the seeds. Bad Farm, I wish I wasn't working. You cook? Oh, I could elaborate. Okay, yeah, it's tough. Come back in the comment section on the replay and we'll have a conversation. Robin says, I love dragon and F1 fennel the best. Oh, there's the types that she grows. So yummy. Thank you. That was helpful. Destiny says, okay, that was very helpful about the fennel. Thank you, Shawnee. You're welcome. Dusty says, well, that was a question I always had. Do fennel seeds come from the bulb fennel? I've never seen herb fennel. It reminds me of dill. How there's dill that goes to seed quickly, and then there's dill that stays in the ferny frony stage really long time. So, comparison of fennels. It might give you a list for which one's the more frondy one. Robin says, I've done Florence heirloom fennel and flavor was okay, but not as hardy. Plant at the summer solstice for the best outcome. Brandon Cross, welcome to the conversation. Hope everyone is doing well. Carol's like, well, I'm not there yet for bamboo. The latitude is across. Okay. My map is way over there because I moved my desk. Otherwise, I could have probably looked. Serena, I wonder if I should just cut down the tomato plants and cover them in the raised beds with the soil they're in and the leaves I raked up. Will it all compost by spring? You're done growing the tomatoes. You can cut them up and they'll decompose faster. And add leaves to the bed. If you leave them whole, the plant will take longer to decompose. Peace, Mad Farm. Carol's wondering about the strangler figs, but I don't know in what context. We have a new member. Brandon Cross is welcome to the seeds. A new member is sprouting up and you've officially planted your roots with us. Get ready for behind the scenes content, extra garden tips, and access to bonus items. Thank you so much for adding to the fund to help me buy more gardening books so we can have some conversations in future episodes. So, thanks to Brandon, we'll read another story. Carol says, welcome to membership. Every bit you sow into Shawnee's channel helps her grow. The Orchard of Whispers is where we're going next. There once was an orchard that grew where no sunlight should have reached, deep in a ravine between cliffs slick with moss and shadow. No one planted the trees there. They simply appeared one autumn long ago, heavy with silver-skinned apples that shimmered faintly at dusk. Locals warned travelers never to eat them, though few remembered why. But curiosity has a way of undoing old warnings, doesn't it? A wandering fruit seller found the orchard one twilight and filled his basket with the glowing apples. They tasted sweet, almost too sweet, and left a tingling on the tongue like static before a storm. That night, as he slept beside his cart, he awoke to the sound of whispering. It came from the apples, dozens of them murmuring in hushed tones. Some laughed softly. Others repeated his name over and over until the voices blended into a single hum that vibrated through his bones. The next morning, his cart rolled into the nearby village on its own, empty. The apples had taken root. Now, strange trees sprout from forgotten corners of the village, along fences beside wells. Even inside abandoned homes, their fruit glows faintly whenever someone tells a lie. And if you listen closely, the wind through their branches sounds almost like the villagers whispering secrets they shouldn't have known. Latitude is lines going across the map. So the farther north you go, the higher the latitude. Remember that saying, flatitude, because those lines lay flat. Brandon Cross is also a gardening man. Also, I remember you growing tomatoes indoors. Are we still doing that? Something about research from Carol. Latitude lines have no end. The Secret Garden. Sounds like a movie. Longitude lines are long because they only go from north to south. So from Shawnee's garden to the penguin's garden. Thank you for the tricks. Well, if the oak pollen doesn't get you, the cedar pollen will, says Dusty. Another story thanks to Brandon. Yes, brook trout. Serena has saved her rosemary plant by wrapping the green stalk in a tarp when freezes happen. Cedar wood chips get Carol's eyes watering. Brandon goes, yes, I'm going to be growing micro tomatoes. Yes. Okay. What variety? Tell me the name, or is it a secret surprise? What? Jay says, want to look like a model? Have people complimented every day? Get Shawnee Gross merch? Thank you. Oh, Brick Trout once says cedar is my favorite tree or wood. Cedar siding, you know. Let's see. If you've learned something new tonight, share it with another gardener. The more of us restoring the ground beneath our feet, the cleaner our food and water become for everyone. Remember to check out the videos we've been posting here on the channel every day. There's been a short conversation that we can have when it's convenient for you. I want to know if you like that format, and I completely understand if you're hardcore live stream only, because it's a completely different experience, and those of us that know, right? Um, Allelopathy reminds us that plants, like people, have complex relationships. And I've spoke about your relationship with the garden in one of these videos that we've posted. Pay attention to who's growing beside who, and you'll unlock healthier, more balanced garden ecosystems, possibly. Just make note what worked, what didn't. Storm's radio says, hello, friends. He was busy looking at the moon, I bet. Good evening, Storms. Are you ready for the storm? Is it Friday night for you? Or are you outside of the window? Okay, Micro Tom, Tiny Tim, and Yellow Canary. Gotcha. It's a good blend. Yes, you made me laugh. Thank you, Jay. Serena says, did you know that you can make tea with the blue lotus flower? I don't know where I would get a blue lotus flower. Oh, what? I'm sorry that YouTube didn't notify you. I sent you a message. I did not email you though. Maybe you want to be put on the email list to be notified when I'm going live so you don't miss out. You'll have to catch the replay because we've covered some personal stories, chemical and physical traits of plants that could cause harm to other plants, or why we would want to use them for strategy in the garden. You are inside trying to stay warm. Oh, that's right. Cold is coming. It is 38 Fahrenheit here right now. So it's dirt and grow light. Okay. I will not be starting my indoor garden till the end of November, I think, unfortunately. Robin is asking Jay, does Shawnee's merch help with the appearance of wrinkles? I do support Lakota Made, who has a face balm, face serum that is made with plants to help things such as that I ordered today that I could show on the channel. And so shawneegrows@gmail.com. There it is. Enjoy Being says, good afternoon. Well, this is a motivating thing to listen to while out trying to get the garden into shape for spring. I'm always a bit late starting. You start when you can, you get done what you can. Serena's saying, do beets need a certain soil pH to thrive? I don't do pH conversations. So everyone contributed very nicely. in the conversation. It was great to see all of you, and you in the replay as well. Please make a comment and let's have a conversation. I will see you around some point for our party where we're going to reflect on 2025, catch the videos about these conversations we're having, check out interviews I've done with the urban gardener, with unique prepping. I like talking about gardening, but I don't always reach outside of my little safety box. So I appreciate support all over the YouTube streets. And always remember to grow every day in every way.